All right, I guess we're gonna try it like this for a minute. Apparently, I guess some people were having some problems. I don't know what the deal was, but for some of the ones that didn't hear it, I'm gonna give a quick history of how the Taylor's Trapping Lures started. I'm gonna start letting people come in here first before I start giving up or start talking a little bit. What's up, Dan? James Thornton, how's it going, buddy? Mr. Ricky Wade, good to meet you, sir. But all right, well, I'm gonna start giving a little bit of a history behind behind the Taylor's Trapping Lures. Uh, my dad had been trapping ever since long before I was born, into the late '70s and early '80s, and of course I was born in 1986, and I was brought up into it. I've got pictures of me in Dublin, Texas, at a trapping convention, and trying to set traps when I was like 2 or 3 years old. But in I think it was in 1990 or 1991, my dad started the Taylor's Trapping Lures and Supplies, and the baits. When he passed away in 2001, at the time I was only 14 years old, and we lost all the recipes. We could not find them. My dad kept them so secretly hidden that it took almost 17 years to find them. And back in December, I think it was either December or January, me and my wife found the recipes. And as soon as I found them, I started making them. And he produced a lot of recipes. And throughout the Texas trappers and fur hunters, Oklahoma fur hunters and trappers, Arkansas, Missouri, New Mexico, and Kansas, there was lots and lots of great success. And tonight, I'm going to give y'all a special treat. I'm actually going to show y'all the making of the Meat Bait DT. I've also got 3 new baits and lures coming out next week. One of them is going to be a main target just for coyotes and foxes. We're calling it Sunny Side Up, and not going to disclose what's in it. But like I said, I see it having a very, very, very great success on coyotes and foxes. And another meat bait that we call Widowmaker. It'll also be coming out next week. And then another coon lure that I'm going to be calling, it's going to be the little brother or little sister to Little Bear. We're calling it Honey Bear. And I can't wait to start sending these out and having people give me success reports on them. Mr. Brian Wall, I believe that's how you pronounce your last name, Brian. I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. But he got an order just the other day and already started having success over in Ohio. So, guys, I'm very happy and pleased to be able to do this for y'all. Know it hadn't been done. In fact, I've never seen it done by any trapping companies or bait companies. It's showing y'all the making. So I'm going to get the phone to my wife. I'm going to turn the phone around, and we'll get started on the makings. I will not disclose anything that I put in them, except just watch and see how it's made. But any of the recipes, unfortunately, the only one I'll give away is it's got meat in it, or it's got hamburger meat. Other than that, all I can say is please have fun, and I enjoy everybody coming on here and watching me make this lure or this bait for y'all. And trust me, there's plenty more to come. And you can always get a hold of me on my personal page, or even my trapping page, which is Taylor's Trapping Lures and Damage Control Trapping. I've got everything on there. Just feel free to send me a message, call me. My phone number is 806-275-0985. All right, I'm going to flip the camera around, and I'm going to give it to my wife, and we'll get ready to start making this bait. There you go. So keep it sideways.
Okay.
Take my dip of snuff out. I'm making 7,000, which will be 7 containers. Here's the container. This is the DT container. It's 16 ounces, 1 pound, and that's how they come. I sell them $12.50 for a pound. Well, crap, dang glove broke. And also, right now, what I've got available is my lure Little Bear for coons. Works good for coon, possums, and sunks. And you can ask Dan Edwards there. He took a smell of it the other day, and he wanted to eat it. I wouldn't advise it, but he wanted to. I'd have probably paid money to see that. Dadgummit, this glove has a hole in it. Sure, I was using these. Now, this is actually another product on the supplies end of it that I sell are gloves for skinning, cutting glands, whatever you do. It kind of helps protect from any kind of illness or disease that an animal may have. All right, here comes the good stuff. Like I said, this is 7 pounds. What?
I'm gonna have to unplug it.
Why?
I can't get all of you.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do all 7 pounds at one time. Ooh. Probably could have tamed it just a little bit longer, but it's still got a good smell to her. All right, there's 3 pounds. Four pounds. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do it in 2 separate containers. Get out of there. So let's get my other container. Split this one in half. If there's any questions or anything.
He said to move the camera slightly to the right so we can see the table, please, without comments over the top.
I don't know how to do all that. I mean, you're the one running the camera, so.
Well, I know, but I'd have to flip it.
Alrighty. There's this part of it. Get it all mashed in here. Give me 2 red cup, or 1 red cup out of there. So I've got to split it up since I've already got those sitting right there. All right. Oh, hang on. Ah. Still should have thought about that before. My paper towels. I don't know where they just disappeared to. I lost my mind. that one. Now this right here is the main ingredient other than the hamburger meat for the making of DT. Oh, that smells good. Smells like money. Or it smells like furs, actually. Like I said, this meat bait right here has been used since the early 1990s by my dad. And then many other trappers other than just him. I used it myself after his passing, and then while I was trapping while he was alive. And then people through the Texas Trappers and Fur Hunters, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kansas. Alrighty. Jar number one, and I guess I'll mix it in just a little bit. Here comes jar number two. Now, even though my wife's holding the camera, still feel free to ask me anything you want. She'll let me know what it is, and I'll answer it. Oh, it ain't bad. Alrighty. See, that was 4 ounces. So, actually, it's more than 4 ounces. Get some of this in first. I'll tell you what, some of y'all better be glad y'all ain't in the Texas Panhandle right now. Last few days, it's been nothing but the high 90s and low 100s. It's been horrible. Come for a second round. Okay, there's that. Do some more mixing. I hate it when it sticks to me. This is not a cross-contamination because what goes into this one and this one are both the exact same thing. So I'll go ahead and get this one mixed up too. Now I make one other meat bait right now that I call Deer Attack 2. And I started it just kind of on a whim this year, trapping up in Moore County. And I'll tell you what, the coyote, and even this year the bobcats are loving it too. Had a badger on it just the other day that most people got to see. So, I mean, these meat baits, there ain't no telling what the heck you're going to catch with them. One more jar. Get that mixed. Get that mixed in. I need a bigger mixing pan. Which I'll be making some more deer tack. Probably, I'm hoping with here in about 2 weeks, I'll be making some more of it. And then my new one coming out, I'm going to be making it next week. Called the Widowmaker. That's a meat bait. But I've also got a couple of others that are coming out next week too. Alrighty. Get some of this good stuff off in there. Now that right there, I'm not going to say what it is, but it's to help, not necessarily preserve it, but to stop the decaying of it, so it don't grow any severe bacteria that can be harmful to yourself. Alright, put the rest of that in there.
Brian said he was back. He had some technical problems.
Oh, hello, Brian.
Timothy McGrath is watching.
Heck yeah. How's it going, Timothy? Let's see here. Put the rest of this in there.
And Dan Edwards said earlier, ready for the barbecue.
Not with this stuff. I mean, if you eat coons and possums, man, go for it. I might actually join you on that dinner. Now, I know my terrain and my country here, well, I wouldn't call it country, but more of the terrain, is a lot different than what it would be such like there in Michigan where Mr. Dan Adams is at, or Ohio where Brian's at, or even Virginia. You know, it's like Brian said earlier, he don't even know what a cactus looks like. Well, I'll go step out in my front yard where I've got a big old cactus bed. Or a mesquite tree.
Dan Edwards said, just send out 100+ invites to this live.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it, big guy. And just remember, you and Brian both are actually getting a container of this after it gets made.
Stanley Dingus put a wave.
Okay, now for...
And Brian Wall said, where's the barbecue sauce at, man? Left alone.
No, sir. No, sir. Like I said, I might eat a coon or a possum. But this stuff I'll leave for the critters, not me.
Timothy McGrath said, what's up, brother?
Getting some good old bait put out. Alrighty.
Dan Edwards, do your meat-based baits have to be in fridge or freezer or okay at room temperature baits like deer attack?
Nah, you can keep them out in 100-degree weather if you wanted to and it not have a problem at all. Everything that I put in here preserves it. So what it's at now will stay at for 20 years. Whenever I said that I found my dad's recipes, I actually found a container of DT and I put it to use 17 years later. And I caught animals off of it within the first night. So, I mean, 17 years later, and it still looks like it was made yesterday. This bait here will last, I would almost say a lifetime. Now, it did harden up a little bit, but there's no problem with that. Ah, dang wind.
Larry Compton is watching. And he said hello.
How you doing?
Timothy McGrath, love your videos, bro. I'm taking in your info like a sponge. Never trapped so many until I started watching your stuff. You're the man.
Thank you, sir. And see, I love helping people out that have never trapped before. You know, I've been doing it since I was a little kid. And it took me a long time to do it. But, you know, when you have a great teacher like my father, you know, then you can pass on the knowledge to anybody that needs it. In which I'm always glad to do.
Dan Edwards said every master baiter must taste.
No, sir. No, sir. I've tasted it before. I'm going to say a long time ago. I ain't doing it. I don't feel like losing my lunch.
Brian Wall, most baits actually get better with age that I have found. If they get stiff, add touch of water and stir in your gold.
Brian, on that one, you can go to Walmart and pick up a, I think either I lost some of that, or I put too much in this one, so it won't matter. Just help it more. But Brian, with that, you can actually go to Walmart and pick up glycerin in the pharmacy, and glycerin will help add moisture to it. I actually add glycerin to my baits and lures. Every bait and lure gets glycerin put in it. Not much, but just a little to kind of help preserve it and add just a little bit of moisture. So if it does dry out a little bit, just put a little bit of glycerin. And even if it does dry out, it still holds the smell that it needs.
Larry Compton, hey fellas, how's it going in tonight? Tanya Owens Garza is watching.
Okay, I'm going to have to take this glove off. Mother. And I tell you what, this stuff that I'm putting in here right now, I searched and searched and searched and searched for weeks trying to find it. And I finally found it, and by God, I ordered 5 pounds of it.
Mike Horton is watching. Brian Wall, yeah, I have some on hand, bub.
What's that? Glycerin?
I guess so, yeah.
Brian, even Dan, those lures I sent y'all have glycerin in it, and even those lures right there will stay preserved for a lifetime.
Michael Horton, Bobcat meat? Question mark.
No, sir. I do have a lure or a meat bait that does have bobcat in it. It's called On the Prowl. Which, let me try to get this glove on here. Now I'm gonna start over with new gloves.
Clayton Griffin is watching.
Hey Clayton, I know you remember this stuff, buddy. Mr. Clayton Griffin, for everybody that is in here, Clayton Griffin has known me since we were little boys. We grew up trapping together. His dad and my dad were best friends. So Mr. Clayton knows all about this stuff here. His dad owns property that we used to trap. That's about 15 miles from here. Think about it now. Be a little bit more, that'd be about 18 miles to the bottom of the hill. Clayton, I sure do wish you'd move back to Texas, buddy.
Dan Edwards, bet he could give a badass back rub, just wash his hands first. Laugh out loud.
Nope, I don't do back rubs. I'm afraid of my own strength in my hands, and I don't hurt ladies. Get this good and mixed up. Hey, Dan and Brian, I guarantee you, ask old Clayton Griffin there, give him like $10 and he'll probably try a bite of it. I think I actually talked him into it one time.
Hold on.
Wow, what happened?
Willie Hamlin, what kind of meat is it?
Just regular hamburger meat that I get from United or Walmart. It don't matter where you get it.
Timothy McGrath, the last coyote I caught was on a porcupine that I shot the night of. Was that a random catch, or do they search to dead commonly? And is it better to use live bait or no?
porcupines, we don't have much of them here in the Texas Panhandle. It's kind of like I've said with a gray fox. If you see a gray fox or a red fox here in the Texas Panhandle, and you happen to catch one, that's a delicacy. I actually caught a gray fox, what was it, last Sunday. And I'm on a damage control job that's for coyotes. And I was kind of depressed a little bit because he was already deceased when I got to him. But I caught it directly across from a set where I caught a coon the day before. But porcupines are actually, if they're dead, is perfect. Because a coyote, actually any predator, is not going to mess with a porcupine if they're alive. They don't feel like getting those quills in their face. Another good one for coyotes is bobcat, or beaver, or muskrats. There's a couple of places here in the Texas Panhandle that's got beavers. I hadn't been on that place in about 15 years. I'm actually working to try to get on that place right now, just so that I can get some of the beavers and get their castor, because one of my main ingredients for two of my baits is beaver castor. And the coyotes up here in the Texas Panhandle, they'll go nuts over beavers. But even with the beavers, I like to try to save some of them so I can eat them. Beaver is really good eating. Now, Dan, I will eat that.
Taylor Johnson is watching.
Alrighty, now we're going to put some, I'll take the gloves off of this.
Brian Wall, we can't use live bait in Ohio. That's a big no-no.
Texas Panhandle, we can actually use it here. Getting a coyote in a cage trap is what I've seen impossible. I just don't think it can be done. I've never seen it. Now for bobcats, it's different. You can use anything as for like a chicken, a pet domestic duck. Federal laws say you can't use, like mallards, stuff like that, since they are a federal regulated bird. But if you raise pen-raised quail or a pen-raised pheasant, pigeons, all that. I've heard from other trappers that pigeons are actually really good for bobcat if you keep them live, because they drum a lot, and the bobcats love that sound. This year, I caught 2 bobcats off of a set that had a pheasant wing that I tied to a mesquite tree. And the other 2 bobcats I caught were caught in a coyote set, which was a complete shock to me. I pull up and I'm like, really? Why is there a bobcat in my coyote set? But it just goes to show that with my lures, there is no telling what you're going to pull up on.
Timothy McGrath said, I remember that deceased fox.
Yeah, it really irritates me. I mean, I hate cruelty to animals. Trapping to me is it's not cruel whatsoever. But whenever you pull up on an animal and it's already been deceased, I don't know if it was from a heart attack or if it may have been from the heat that we have here in the Panhandle. Unfortunately, like I said, our heat's been horrible. Last Sunday when I went to check traps, it was 97 degrees. It was caught right beside a creek bed that did have water in it. So, I mean, unfortunately, I don't know what killed the animal.
Brian Wall said, my bait can't be visible by air. They say so. If I can't see it standing in front the set, I am good.
Wow. So what about using a double dirt hole set that I've showed on many of my videos? Is that legal where you're at, Brian? Because, here in Texas, we can do anything. We can do what they call a flat set, which I do. I use 2 cow turds, usually, or even a bone pile that I'll get off of a cow or a deer, horse, whatever. And we can use those. It don't matter if the game board can see it or not. The game board that I have for my counties that I trap, he is a damn good guy. And he knows that I trap, and he loves every bit of it.
Joe Early is watching.
So, I mean, here are trap laws. The only trap laws that we have that I'm actually aware of, I've read on, studied, is that you have 36 hours from the time you put the trap around, or from the time you come to see that trap. You have 36 hour trap check, or 36 hours time to check your trap line.
Brian Wall, yes, or yeah, I have to use sheep wool to cover the bait in a hole.
Here might be another thing, Brian. You ever taken a picture of cows or horses? You can cover. I've actually done that on some of my sets this year, because most of my sets this year were double dirt holes. And I kind of wanted to throw a mixture into it just in case I have the same cow working multiple sets, that I use a cow patty to cover up each of my dirt holes. And then I'll take sometimes a bottle of urine, either it be coyote urine, bobcat, fox urine, and I'll squirt all over the top of those cow patties. Some sets I do that too, some sets I don't. It just depends on where I'm at. But also, on your double dirt hole sets, take you a wad of grass. Don't use sheep wool. Just take you a wad of dry grass or even green grass, and just barely put inside that hole. And it'll cover that there's no bait there. You can't see it. And it's also a natural attraction, or I wouldn't even say a natural attraction. It's natural to the landscape that there's grass there, or a cow patty, or horse apple. I mean, it's natural to that area. If you can use pecan, if you got pecan trees or peach, whatever, you can even take a seed and put right there. It's natural. To your game laws, of course, like I say to everybody, do not break your game laws. Follow them as strict as you can. As I do myself, I follow every game law there is. And if I even see a game law that's been broken, you bet your ass I'm going to call the game warden. Like I've even had to do a couple times this year. I cannot stand poachers at all. But like I said, just kind of look at your surroundings that you're trapping in and make it look as natural as possible. The sheep wool, if you're in a sheep pasture, hey, sheep wool's, as natural as it can be. You can also take bird feathers if you're near a chicken coop or a duck pen. Take those feathers and kind of put on the top of it. Not only is it a natural disguise of your dirt holes there, Brian, but it's also an attraction, because a coyote might think, well, heck, there's been a duck or a chicken here that's died. Here's its feathers. There may be something left to chew on. So that's kind of another thing you want to look at.
Timothy McGrath, gotta go, brother. I'll save this video and watch it later. Tell the little woman behind the camera she's doing awesome. Thanks, man, for all your info.
I don't know about little woman, but but yeah. Also, feel free to go over to my trapping page there, Taylor's Trapping Lures and Damage Control Trapping. I have a lot of information on how to make coyote sets over there. Of course, along with catches. So we'll get this mixed up here in this pan. Whew, smells yummy. I smell fur is what I smell. Wife, on the other hand, smells oh shit.
Dan Edwards, are your baits and lures on store shelves? And is your name and product names trademarked? When I push your product, I want to stay legal, bud.
No, sir. This has never actually seen a store shelf in its entire life. The only shelf it's seen is this shelf sitting right there. There's not a trademark on it. I've never thought about that, because I mean, I know there's a lot of strange people out there that want to take advantage of others. And with me disguising what I put in my lures, I don't think they can make the exact same thing. Unless if they're good enough to smell it over the phone or through a computer and recognize it from a jar, by all means, go for it if you want to try to steal it that much. I've never put a patent on it. I don't see a reason to. We're all in this for the same thing. We're all in it as a brother or a sisterhood of trapping in a dying sport that has been around for thousands of years. of animal trapping. You know, and if someone wants to steal it, hands down to them. It just shows that they're a type of person that don't need to be in this sport. You know, I guess I could say I'm a small time person. These are already mixed up and ready to go in a jar. Get my gloves back off. Ain't gonna do that. But I guess let's see here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, I've got 12 lures right now. Well, lures and baits, I guess. Let me put it like that. And fixing to add a couple of more. These couple of more that I'm fixing to add, no one's even heard of. I didn't even know of them until just the other day when I started thinking these ideas in my head. Just like my dad would do. My dad was a paramedic for 21 years. And my dad would be sitting at his ambulance station thinking of how to make these baits and lures. What's the matter? Yeah, I'll say that. Alright, like I said, here's the container of DT. And this is actually one of my personal containers. I'm waiting on new containers to come in the mail. According to UPS, they were sitting in Mesquite, Texas this afternoon. So I've got 24 of them coming in, so they should be in probably Monday, which I have a container here in the floor that I'll put this in to preserve it. But I'm fixing to fill 2 of my personal containers for it. Let's see, like I said, you can tell I've used it. It's got remnants of it in it. Take this. And whenever I ship this stuff out to customers, I'll ship y'all an applicator for it, which is kind of like a tongue depressor. All right, there's that bottle. Bottle number 1. And by God, bottle number 2. This bottle's seen numerous trap sets. As you can tell, it's dirty. It's got stuff on it. It's been sitting in my trap bag. And see, I'm getting her to look in here. This is one of my empty containers of DT. You know, there's grass in it, a little bit of dirt, stuff like that. It's not going to hurt this bait at all. If anything, it may actually help it out on a natural disguise for, you know, a person such like Brian. Dirt, grass, even cow shit. It ain't going to hurt a thing. These 2 are up here or not. Oh, that's a double trouble container too. And that's near that too. I'm not going to use this one because it's a personal. I've got 2 pounds of it myself. So, like I said, here's a mixing container of DT. I mixed some up back in January, and as you can see, it's still got remnants in it. Ain't gonna bother a thing. In fact, it smells like it. So I mean, this is what I'm gonna end up having to do to keep it until my containers get in. But I wanted to get this made tonight before I've lost, well, in fact, I've lost 14 pounds of meat just this week trying to get this bait perfect to be able to, you know, send out to everybody. And I don't want to send out rotten things because coyotes, bobcats, fox, they don't want rotten. They want slack tainted or fresh meat. You know, especially at the beginning of the fall. I mean, this bait here is good year round. You know, summer, spring, fall, dead middle of winter. It will work perfect. So, I mean, I just didn't want rotten meat. I didn't want a product that I'm going to put out that will be crap. I don't want crap to go out to my customers. I don't even want to use crap. I want to use what's perfect. And this right here, as you got to see tonight, is what's perfect. I guess I probably could have mixed all 7 pounds in that. Notice I'll put new gloves on each time. You know, to me, gloves is gloves. I don't mind using them all the time. Come on there. Get up in there. Alrighty. Them things are,
I'm right here.
oh, those things are cheap, so I don't mind throwing them things away. Got a dang bug in my ear.
James Thornton, do you make lure all year round?
Yes, sir, I do. It's like I said, I've been waiting for all of my supplies to come in. I got everything in, and I got everything perfect to be able to make DT tonight. I'm waiting on supplies to come in next week. That will be for Triple Treat. My new lure coming out, which will be Sunny Side Up. And my new lure of, oh hell, you just made me go blank. Sunny Side Up will be
Widowmaker
yeah, Widowmaker. That's the meat bait.
and Honey Bear.
And of course, Honey Bear. Those are Triple Treat is an old one. That is my dad's. That'll be being full next week. Let me show you something here. Let me find Triple Treat here.
Brandon Hildebrand is watching.
I got just about a smither of Triple Treat left, and I'm waiting on everything to come in. I placed my order today, so everything should be here by Tuesday or Wednesday. This jar right here will be plump again.
I'm getting the tag, honey.
Oh, the Triple Treat. Well, that's got my dad's name on it.
Oh.
So, you know, well, I won't say this jar will be full. I'll be actually putting in different jars. Since these are my dad's jars, I kind of want to retire them. Keep them as a kind of a remembrance type thing of my dad. But there'll be new jars of everything. Like I said, Triple Treat will be made next week. Deer Attack 2, I'm going to look at maybe making it week after next, if not the week after. Everything for me to make my supplies is kind of outrageous on price. Well, I wouldn't say outrageous on price, but, you know, I've got to be able to spend good quality money to be able to bring good quality products to everybody, which I don't mind it. And I don't mind sending free samples out to a few people so they know that this product is, you know, is good. I mean, I use my own. If I'm not going to use it, I'm not going to ask Mr. Dan Edwards or Brian or anybody to use it. If I won't let anybody else use it. So, what do I do with my lid? There it is. But like I said, this bait right here, you know, I made it tonight. This is exactly how it's going to look from now on, with a good pinkish color to it. Now, I probably prefer to have a little bit darker taint to it, but it tainted good today. 80, well, where it was sitting at the tank was probably about 85 to 88 degrees, and it has tainted for probably about 10 and a half hours. The other ones that I tainted them for 2 days, and they went bad on me. So this right here, this is exactly how it's going to look whenever it gets shipped in that container.
Dan Edwards, drink a shot of Little Bear.
No, sir. No, sir. I don't even want to do that.
Brian Wall, ha 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 ha.
I wouldn't mind, but I just ain't going to do it. It smells good enough to eat. but I ain't gonna do it. Where's my paper towels? There they are.
Hey, you found them.
Get my table cleaned up real quick. And whenever I start making the other baits and lures too, I will do a live feed there also, so that you know what I'm doing. And I see it as a treat being able to watch your bait provider make his baits, so you know that it's fresh. It hadn't been sitting on the shelf for 2.5 years or however long some bait companies do it. You know that you're watching it right there.
Dustin Frolic. Send some down here to Alabama. I'll give it a try.
Okay, Dustin, if you could send me your address and whatnot in a private message, I'll be more than happy to.
Dan Edwards. Taint.
Well, I'm going to get a little bad here, I guess. I know a lot of y'all people know Dan Edwards there. And boy, he's got a pretty good mouth on him. I love that man. So, I mean, you say taint. Well, go down to your boulevard, your local boulevard you got there, and you can probably find some taint that you don't want.
Brian Wall. I will say the little bear smells good.
Yeah. Well, you know, whenever I made it, even when I was a kid.
Oh.
What?
Dan Edwards says, I dip my McDonald's fries in Little Bear. Delicious.
God almighty, Dan. Well, if Dan likes it, I imagine a coon will too. Which, all of my coons I caught this year, plus possums, which is another weird one for the Texas Panhandle, is a damn possum. I was kind of shocked when I got those. But that's another weird one for here in the Panhandle. I myself have no use for a possum, so I ain't going to do nothing with them but use them for a coyote bait somewhere. I got ingredient on my hands. You get to smell it all night.
Dan Edwards, taint-aholic.
No, sir.
Brian Wall, it's pretty good on chicken nuggets too, Dan. Laugh out loud.
Y'all some sick people. Do I need to start making labels like you see in Walmart? Do not stick in orifices or stuff like that? God, for Brian and Dan, I'm going to have to put on there, do not for human consumption. Good Lord, peoples. Or eat at your own risk. Some people's kids. Now, you know, there's some people's kids, and then there was Brian and Dan. Huh? There's that. Clean my table off one more here.
Brian Wall, ha ha ha. Dan Edwards, deer attacked 2 burgers.
That's just nasty. Ugh, y'all people. They're for critters, not for yourself. Let me see what's on there. All right, guys. I got my table cleaned off and bait put away. Bait put back in my bag. Well, let me rotate it back this way, I guess. No, sir, I've never consumed a bait in my life. Well, there was this one time with Little Bear my dad dared me to when he first made it. I did it. I puked. But it smelled good. But, no, I hope y'all guys really enjoyed it tonight. You know, I find it a pleasure to be able to come to y'all and actually show y'all the makings of a lure that I make, or a bait that I make. And I'll do the exact same thing with all lures too. I'll show y'all the makings of them, you know, knowing that they're fresh, you know, straight from the recipes that I put in there to make everything come fresh, straight from the manufacturer, to me getting everything mixed together and perfect for all of my all my customers and for myself to be able to use. Hey, John Elder and Trenton Ritchie, like a it's like a fur catching meth lab in there. Yeah, yeah, if you want to call it that. I mean it. I would say that. I guess I want to try to hustle the baits and lures to a critter. Yes, sir, Brian. And like I said, this see never happens. People normally hide it. Well, I will hide the recipes. I will hide that from y'all. I don't really like to be an asshole and hide things, but this has been in my family that I'm the only person in my family other than my dad that traps. I've got two brothers that, well, I don't even know. Well, I do know them, but one of them's afraid to get his fingernails dirty, and the other one is working all the time, and I don't get to see him. But well, I hadn't seen him in almost 2 years, so it's okay. I don't care. But to me, I hold these recipes dearly. But I don't mind bringing it to y'all on a live feed to show y'all the makings of them. I just won't disclose what the ingredients are. All I can say is some of them got a very short list, like Triple Treat. It's only 3 ingredients. Yes, sir, Brian. There's a lot of things I learned from my dad. And I only got to spend 14 short years with him. But during those 14 years, I learned a lot from that man. Sample your baits on bums in Detroit. No, I really don't have no desire to go to Detroit or Chicago or anything like that. You could barely let me go or get to go to Amarillo or even Dallas or Lubbock. Well, that's all up to you. You live up there near to Detroit. I don't want to go nowhere near it. There's too many liberals up there for me. I'd get shot the first day there. I don't have a filter, and I don't care. But no, this right here to me, I call it a real treat to be able to show things that I do and that I'm going to put out for customers and for myself. As Brian said earlier, that he's already had success off of some of my lures. Unfortunately, Mr. Brian didn't get any of my meat baits, but he's fixing to. And as soon as my containers come in, him and Dan both will be the first ones to get a container of this bait. Well, Dan, my dad, he's like me. He was always in the outdoors doing something. Whether it be, hunting, fishing, trapping. He was really, really big into the Texas Trappers and Fur Hunters Association. He was actually over District 1, which is the entire Texas Panhandle. And, he was a very, very well-respected person in the trapping community for Texas. Dan, I don't know, man. I try to watch what I say, but you catch me going just right, and man, I'll have you rolling like no other. But no, I mean, I feel it a very well pleasure to be able to come to everybody and show them what I do. And since the Taylor's Trapping Lures and Supplies have been kind of laid to rest since 2001, and just now bringing it back to life 17 years later, I find it a great pleasure to be able to serve customers again, just like my dad would. My dad, mainly did everything here in Texas and some in Arkansas and Oklahoma and Kansas and Missouri. I don't even think his lures or baits made it as far as like Ohio or Michigan or Alabama or Georgia or anything like that. They just pretty well stayed here in the home states. But, just to show here that, my lures and baits actually produce. You bet, Brian. I actually want to go do some walleye fishing. I've been missing them damn things. But just to go to show that, my trapping season this year was very short. In fact, I didn't even know I was going to get back into trapping this year. until I met a rancher or a farmer up in Moore County, which is just a couple counties away from me. But just a short time I was on his place, produced some of these furs. Those yellow tags are bobcat tags, and then of course I've got color-coded zip ties going to certain individuals, like either for myself or my son, or friends of ours. And then over here is a mixture of coon, badger, a coyote. Coyote that the farmer shot with a rifle, didn't realize it was in a trap. He was driving down his back road and saw it and didn't realize it was in a trap. So that thing right there is actually getting made into a fur hat. But my wife, right here, said that she wants some of this on the wall. I wish some of y'all guys had a good lucky wife like that. Says, hey, I want to put some of them on the wall. Oh, Dan, I got something for you. You know how you were saying the other day that your dream catch is a badger? You want me to send that to you, buddy? It's probably bigger than you. Just saying. Good old badger toothpick. Caught that off that big male I got the other day. Sorry, Dan, I had to do it. Well, here shortly, let's see here, Willie. When you tank your hamburger, do you put in glass or plastic to seal the container, leave lids loose, or tighten? Actually, Willie, whenever I tank my lure, or when I tank my meats, I leave them in their very original package that they come in from the store, which would be either, individual package, 1 pound packages like I did there this evening, or they may be in a big family package. I just leave them in that. I do not do anything to break the seal because I don't want flies or anything like that to get into it to ruin it. So I just leave it how it is until I'm ready to go ahead and start making that bait or that lure. Whenever I get my ingredients in from the from the manufacturers to make the lures, they will all stay in their glass container until I'm ready to make them. Let's see here. Willie. Oh, Dan was saying that. Yeah, Dan, it's like I say, and I keep it in the individual package at the store that it comes with in the store. Now, whenever I get ready to ship them out, this is what they come in. Let's see here. Oh, that dang light. This right here is what they come in. Is this container right here. It's a 16-ounce container, and as you've seen, I fill it plumb to the top. So, it'll stay in this the way I made it. It'll stay like that for years. So, it will not spoil or get any more tainter or rotten. Once I've mixed everything in it, right there is how it will stay. But yeah, everybody, I would like for y'all, if y'all would like to, order lures and supplies, baits. Like I said, whenever I get everything in, y'all will know that everything is made fresh. I will show the making of every bait and lure that I make. The only one that I won't be making anytime soon is Little Bear, because I've already made a big old jar of it. So, let's see here. I've got plenty of Little Bear to go out, as you can see. Let's see here. Slide that over. So, that's, I don't know. Get that mixed up. That's probably a good 8 to 10 containers, or not containers, but 1 ounce jars or bottles before I make any more Little Bear. But everything else that I'll make, like Triple Treat, I'll make Triple Treat and Sunny Side Up and Widowmaker next week. And I'll actually try to do those all in the same night so that y'all can see the makings of 3 different baits and lures at the same night. It'll be Triple Treat, Honey Bear, Sunny Side Up, and very well possible Widowmaker. I've just got to look at. There we go. But yeah, everybody go over to Taylor's Trapping Lures and Supplies, or even here on my personal page. Please feel free to send me a message, or you can even call me. My phone number is 806-275-0985. And I'll be more than happy to fill any order that you have, any questions that you have, or I'll try to do whatever I can to, make everybody happier, to answer questions for anybody. But, well, guys, I'm going to end the night tonight. Enjoy this nice cool breeze that we had from a 102 degree temperature today, which sucked. Sent me home from work. Hey, Brian, if I don't mind asking, I already seen that one coyote that you had. Have you had any more success or any more animals other than that one coyote yet, or just kind of want to have kind of an update? Good Lord, Dan. You liking that like button, ain't you, buddy? I know there's one other gentleman. I don't know if he's in here watching or not. He's out of Virginia. Good God, Brian. 14 coons so far on Little Bear. Do you need more Little Bear, buddy? Or do you want to wait and try the Honey Bear first before you get more Little Bear? And then you've only had success on that one coyote so far? Let's see. Hey, Dan, did you see where Brian's already pulled in 14 coons on Little Bear? And I see that you're a major coon trapper, so I imagine Little Bear is probably going to be a pretty big hit for you too. Trey Hill, how you doing, big guy? I hadn't seen you in a long time. Trey Hill has also known me since we were kids. He was a far lot younger than me, but what the heck? What's going on here? But Trey Hill knew that I was a trapper from a long time ago. My dad trapped on his father's ranch also. Dang, you've also caught 2 gray foxes. Heck yeah. What were the gray foxes caught off of, if you don't mind me asking, sir? So that's 13. No. Let's see. 16. 17. That'd be 17 animals within, what, a week and a half? That's actually very good, Brian. I'm very well pleased. But now the gentleman that I had over in Virginia that actually does buy my products, he actually caught his very first coyote this year off of the lure I make called Coyote, which I believe Brian also had success off of Coyote. He said that he had been trying for several years to catch a coyote, never had any luck until he got the lure Coyote in the mail, and he said that it did a number. Well, I wouldn't say it did a number, but it made that man so excited that he couldn't even stand it, that he pulled his first coyote off of it. Well, and Brian, with the liquid bait or the liquid lures, I always use 2 of them together. Whenever I make my sets, I will use, say if I use coyote or use a double dirt hole set or even a flat set. A flat set, I'll use 2 lures, which a flat set's more of a curiosity set. And then a double dirt hole set, I'll use a meat bait and then another lure. For 1 coyote, 2 grays, and 14 coons. Awesome. I like that. But like I said, on my double dirt hole sets, I'll use a meat bait, like I have here, and then one of my lures. just depends on how the wind's blowing or what kind of weather we're predicting. Will depend on how I set it. But mainly my meat bait will go in the left hole, and my attractants lure will go in the right hole. But just depending on how I have the set made or what kind of precipitation we're going to expect, I may switch it around. But Brian, there's no problem with using two different ones at the same time. I do it myself. I'll use like DT and say Coyote, or DT and Triple Treat, just something to give a little extra out there. You know, I may put DT and then a real loud lure. Now, I will not lie. I do use like skunk essence to kind of put an extra loudness out. You know, there's nothing wrong with using two different brands. You know, I use my own, and then I'll buy some, you know, like I said, coyote urine or fish oil or fox urine, whatever, or skunk essence, stuff like that. And I use them with my sets too. Now, will I say that, you know, that's what got the animal was that other lure? No, we'll never know. But, you know, with the both lures there, you know, say if you do use both of mine at the same time, say such as DT or Deer Attack 2 and Triple Treat or Foxy Dog or, you know, whatever, then you know that both of those lures right there are putting it to good work. And it's like Mr. Brian was saying here that, you know, he does damage control trapping the same as I do also. My damage control starts right at the end of first season and will last all the way to the beginning of first season, and then it's no longer damage control for me. You know, it's not get the animal and then, you know, dispatch them and do nothing with them. Then it becomes I skin them and I put them for my personal use or personal sale. But, you know, 14 coons off of Little Bear. I believe I sent you 2 ounces of Little Bear. So hopefully you've got enough to go good for the coons there. And Honey Bear, I'll do the exact same thing. I'll send you 2 ounces of it. And hopefully Honey Bear will do you good also. Whenever I make more lures, I will send out Mr. Brian and Mr. Dan both. They're promoting my lures and my baits, and they're putting them to use up in their neck of the woods to see if they're working. Like I said, I've already got positive feedback from Virginia, Georgia, Alabama, New Mexico, now Ohio, and I believe there was one in Michigan. Let's see here. Who was saying Foxy Dog? Sounds good, Brian. That Foxy Dog, I've found it to be pretty good up here too for coyotes. Now it is a fox glen lure, but the coyotes up here in the Texas Panhandle, they'll kill a fox if they see them. That's why I say a fox up here in the Texas Panhandle is a delicacy. So that's why I make that lure also. It's a major, major curiosity lure to a coyote, that they have a intruder or a predator or another predator that they will kill and eat. So therefore it kind of gets a heightened sense up for them. But, well, guys, I'm going to go ahead and call it an evening. And like I said, please feel free to go over to Taylor's Trapping Lures and Damage Control Trapping. I have a Facebook link. I'll try to get the Facebook link on this one. If you go and try to find it, it's got a picture of me holding a bobcat in my shed, a big old tomcat. There's also a slideshow on it for pictures. Yeah, they do. And, I mean, I wish my fox numbers were higher up here. I love catching the fox. But like I said, I've also got a slideshow of numerous pictures of animals that I've caught this year, and I've also got numerous how-to videos on there also, and videos of critters that I've caught just this past year within the last couple of months. But please go over there, like the page. If you use my product and you've had positive success, give me a review on there if you can. Brian, if you could do the same, I'd really appreciate it, big guy. But also my phone number's on there. I don't have a time for the business or whatever you want to call it on there. You can text me, call me, send me a message anytime, day or night. If I don't see it till the next morning, I will get back to you. I promise. Excuse me. So during the day, my full-time job, I can talk on the phone anytime unless I'm actually out working on my piece of equipment. But any other time, I can talk on the phone, which I've done a few times with Brian. You can send me a text anytime. I'll get to you. I'll try to get to it within minutes of it being sent. If not, it'll be right then and there. But like I said, please give me a call or send me a text, private message. My phone number is 806-275-0985. I'm here out of the Texas Panhandle in a town that we call Skellytown. We're only a town of about 350 people. It's a very small town. So, but well, guys, I appreciate everything. Once again, Taylor's Damage Control Trapping on Facebook. Go over and give it a like. As you can see, Brian and Dan, they already like the product, especially Mr. Brian here murdering the hell out of the coons. But, well, guys, y'all have a good, safe night. I appreciate everybody. Look forward to next week bringing y'all the the makings of Sunny Side Up and Triple Treat, and very well possible the Widowmaker. So, y'all guys, I appreciate everybody that's followed this. Love the questions. So, feel free to give me a call. Once again, my number is 806-275-0985. I look forward to everybody. Y'all guys have a good, safe night. Thank y'all very much.